And we're talking about how to know a person. This book is so freaking good. I have a thing for books. Like this is one of those books when you read it, it makes you feel smarter. And I love it when I find the psychology behind, like there's things that you do and you don't realize what you're doing. And then you read books that tell you the psychology behind why you do things. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. It's freaking, I love these things. Now I doodle right in my book because I have brain damage. I have to listen to the audiobook while I'm reading, enable for me to read it. It makes me able to read longer. So if I don't have it, I can read, but I can read maybe a chapter or like a paragraph, and I wouldn't necessarily get to hold it on. So I remember someone had told me that you have to read a book 11 times to actually know it. And it's interesting that every time I read a book, I'm a different person when I read it. So I swear the book is different, but it isn't. Like I'm different and I'm paying attention to different things. So I doodle right in my book. So I put all my notes in it. And yeah, you can see like I do all these little doodles in it. One of my favorite, there's some notes in here where they were talking about, um, yeah, like these little doodles. The one of my favorite ones is talking about questions, like when you question and people start being seen, they put down their weapons and they start connecting to their hearts rather than when you come in with that curious. I freaking enjoy this creativity. There's also some great questions here too. Like there's some really great, like how are you experiencing this moment? And it's so interesting, right? Like two people go to an event and one person, it's the life of their life. Like I went to Burning Man's, me and my best friend, we went there. And I loved Burning Man. I had a wonderful time. I met these amazing people that think different, and all these energy and art and psychology and engineering, like the engineering, the artists using the engineering to create events and things and mindset, like so brilliant. I loved it. He did not. He hated it. Everything didn't work for him. No one would help him. He had a horrible time. So we were both in the same event and we had completely different experiences. And that's no one's right or wrong. They're both right. That's their experience. And asking people what their investment is or they're like how did they see out of it, that's what's super interesting. I'm so cold. I'm drinking cold water or hot water, which I've been told it's super weird but it warms me up. So great questions in here. The asking questions, and they have a whole bunch of really great ones. One of the ones I really pointing out is like a friend who has despair, like a sad person, and that one's really interesting. Like the reminding the like often when someone's sad, we want to solve them, right? They feel uncomfortable. We want to help them, and the biggest thing you can do is I thought it was interesting that so many artists who explaining their depression and their sadness and telling that if it's in hell, like it really the worst place in the world. And instead of trying to help them, instead of fix them, instead tell them, like, that's fucking hell. Like, I can't believe that sucks. That's where you are. And just being the person who sits beside them, not judging them, just sitting. Sometimes all you have to do is sit beside them and make them not feel alone. That was a huge one. I really liked, because I always, it's one when I'm sad, that's something my therapist will always ask me if I'm thinking of hurting myself. And I was like, okay, so when my friends are in depression, and I was like, okay, my therapist would ask me that question. So I feel like I should ask that question, but I was so worried of I was so worried. I'm like, whoa. And what the book thing said is like, just because you ask them doesn't mean, so to ask them right to the front, like directly, these are good English, ask them directly, right in there, like ask them directly if they're thinking of hurting themselves. That it's super helpful to ask them because you're not putting it in their thought. Like asking them does not put them in their thought. They're saying that it's, they're already thinking about it. It just lets them know where they in that, right? Like they're grasping for hope and like these little doodles, right? These little questioning. And the thing that it, like, I did so much psychology on depression and I've tested with so many different people. And the thing that helped the most was having a goal, something that wakes them up every day. And for me, setting up this goal, like reminding my friends of what their goal is. And it's interesting because they will forget, right? And I will talk to them because I know what your goals are. I remember them. And they would tell me that they don't have one. I said, well, what about this? What about that? They're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. And I did the same thing when I was, I had about 25 words. I had a stroke, delete all of them. I couldn't read, write. And in this low point, it was getting a dream and reminding myself that I want to be a motivational speaker. I think that would be the coolest job in the world to make people happy. And that's how the world grows. Okay. So the depression one was really chapter in here. The last one that I was reading was really good too. See you in your struggles, having hard conversations. Like I love hard conversation, clear communication. Especially like it's interesting that I value clear communication so much more now. Oh yeah, the having hard conversation is looking from their realities, like the looking at where their reality is and coming in from their place makes it easier or harder. My Englishers are not going good with this. All right, I'm going to take more time on this and I will find the right words to say this. So that's my quick little mindset here of mindset. And let me know what your questions are and help me with your business. And we'll be back here tomorrow at 11:11. So remember, if you woke up today, it's because we need you just like you. You can level up. You can be better. But if you woke up, we need you. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.